Hey there, how you doing? Charlie Winters here with selections for Wednesday, the 15th of March. Well, what a fantastic day at Cheltenham today. So, we staked just over £50 in total. And Charlie Winters being Charlie Winters, I had a slight problem when I put the bet on. So I actually had to put some of the bet on Paddy Power, on lesser places. Yes, and you've guessed it. Some of the horses that came placed on Skybet didn't quite fulfil the criteria on Paddy Power because Paddy Power paid out on less places. However, I have still had returns of, I think it was just over £350, and that was by putting the bet on wrong. So those of you who have put the bet on correctly and followed me in, as I mentioned on the video, and used Skybet, will have had a fantastic day today. Well, I'm not going to go crazy. Basically, it's the same stake on Wednesday as it was on Tuesday. So let's get into it. So basically, what I've had is £1.50 each way singles on every horse I am about to show you. So they are £1.50 each way singles. They are also to be included in a 20 pence each way hinds, as well as 20 pence each way doubles and 10 pence each way trebles. And as I said, it comes to £50 and 80 pence. I have taken the price of only two horses now. One of them by mistake, but yeah. So let me get into it. Enough waffling. So the first selection is American Mike. I've left the price in the 130 at Cheltenham. This isn't an extra place race. This horse, in my opinion, has been crying out for this distance since it took the hurdles. It ran over 2 miles 6.5 first time round, and it absolutely hacked up. Decent rating, well, decent racing post rating, and then it was dropped in distance, and it hasn't been jumping well since. I just think the shorter distance, basically, there's been too much happening. Everything happens too quickly for it over that kind of distance. Being stepped up, I believe it will. Its jumping will improve, and it actually wants this kind of distance. And I think with the course form that it has, when it came second in the champion bumper last year to Facel Vega, I do think this horse is much better than it's shown so far over hurdles. Well, tomorrow is the acid test, and I think it's roughly around 28-1. Well, I think it could still get bigger. So I've left the price, and that's the first selection. The second selection is Time Hill. I've taken the price at 9-1 by mistake. In the 10 past 2 at Cheltenham, paying 4 places instead of 3. I think this stable could have a couple of winners. The stable is now Philip Hobbs and I believe Johnson Wyatt. Well, I've never been a fan of Philip Hobbs, but I do find there always seems to be some kind of fairy tale or story to be told at Cheltenham. Well, I do believe, I've been looking through the combination of these pair, but they only announced yesterday that they were going at it together. So that's the 13th of March when they declared it. Well, sorry, that was Monday. So Wednesday is their first runners together. I can see him having maybe a winner or even two. But Time Hill, it's a decent horse, and it's actually, as I remember, it's the best horse in the race, and I think it could be very hard to beat tomorrow. So yeah, I think not only could be there some kind of like story behind it, but I do also think it's actually weighted to win the race. So the third selection is Camprond. I've left the price in the 250 at Cheltenham, paying 8 places instead of 4. Basically, in my opinion, this horse has been messed around with so far this season. It's been running over distances it doesn't want to run at. But one thing it has got in its favour is it absolutely loves Cheltenham. It's ran absolute crackers every time it's ran there. So I would say this is probably my nap or next best of the day, Camprond. It's shown nothing so far this season, but I think it'll be a different animal when it comes to Cheltenham on Wednesday. The fourth selection is Plan of Attack, and I've taken the price deliberately at 40-1 because it's another horse that I think it's been deliberately aimed at this race and messed around with. It's been over hurdles. It's done all kinds of things this season. And it ran a cracker last year in this race. I think it came third. And I think it's £1 lower this year than it was last year. And I think 40 to 1, paying 4 places instead of 3, is too big a price. So the 5th selection is Global Citizen in the 450 at Cheltenham, paying 6 places instead of 4. Long-standing subscribers will be perfectly aware that I've had quite a decent run, or certainly paid its way, is following the Ben Pauling stable, especially early on in the season, because they'd had a new stable. They moved to a new stable, like a state-of-the-art complex. So what happened was it'd gone from a decent place to an outstanding 5-star training facilities. And what's happened is, I believe the horses are benefiting from it. Well, this horse, it's another one that's had a poor season, but this horse has proven it can run well fresh. Also, it ran well in this race last year. It didn't run well. It won the race last year. And it made all. I think it was slightly favouring front runners on that day because it was heavy ground. But if this horse could get a relatively easy lead, it could be quite hard to peg back. And I think with the benefit of a winter around, in and around these new stables, this horse could potentially be a better horse this time around in this race. And also, I think it's roughly about 20 to 1. I think it is. I think it could be quite hard to beat. I certainly like its chances of finishing the places. And finally, Better Days Ahead in the 530 at Cheltenham, paying 5 places instead of 3. I think this one's Gordon Elliott's number 1 fancy. It's the same colours as Zanier. It's got a few on the card, or a few at the meeting in these colours. I do believe on its first run in the National Flat Race, it turned into a sprint and it didn't suit this horse. And then the next race, it turned into a slog, which it did suit this horse. I think this horse has had some real good training sessions put into it. It's had 101 days off. I think it's really got this horse fit. And I think it will obviously strip fitter for this race. Sorry, strip fitter for the amount of work that Gordon Elliott's put into this horse. And I think you'll see a much better horse come race day. There's a lot of Willie Morlins horses in there. There could be a few superstars. Who knows? But I do like the look of this horse. So if you've got this far in the video, please give me a like or a subscribe. That'd be absolutely fantastic. So hopefully we can have a fantastic day again on Wednesday. So fingers crossed. The very best of luck. Charlie Winters, over and out. Cheers, mate.